With spooky season just around the corner, it feels like the perfect moment to discuss one of the scariest movies to come out in the last decade. Sinister, which was released in 2012, made almost $90 million at the box office and was so popular a sequel was made and released. Sinister was directed by horror veteran Scott Derrickson and co-written by C. Robert Cargill. Interestingly, the story for Sinister was inspired by a nightmare that C. Robert Cargill had after he watched The Ring. His dream was so scary that he felt as though he had to make it into a story he could tell the world. And today, we're going to take a look into that scary story. The movie opens with an idyllic view of a large garden and a huge sprawling tree, in full bloom of lush green leaves. However, terrifyingly, a family of four is standing underneath the tree, tied up with hoods over their heads. Each member of the family has a noose around their neck, which is tied to a heavy bow of the tree. Someone just out of frame saws the branch until it snaps and gives way, causing the family to be pulled into their air. The family hangs as one until each is still and the camera stops running. The same garden and tree belong to a house, which a year later is sold to a writer and his wife and two children. The writer, Ellison, specializes in true crime, and he and his wife Tracy think the move will be good for him to clear his head and get inspired for his work. After all, the house where a family was murdered is an excellent place for inspiration if you're going to write a book about the horrible events that unfolded there just a year before. He plans to research the family and the murders and is hoping to uncover the final mystery of that terrible day. The family actually had a third child, a young girl named Stephanie who went missing the day the family was killed and was never found. After the Oswalt family moves into the beautiful house, Ellison is exploring his new home, looking for clues as to the previous family's fate. His search takes him up into the attic where he finds the usual things: cobwebs, old junk left behind, and also a box filled to the brim with old Super 8 film reels of home movies, and a projector to match. Ellison's curiosity is piqued. Why would a box full of home movies be left behind? Surely someone would have wanted to keep these. He takes the box downstairs and looks at the labels on the film reels. Family hanging out, 11. Pool party, 66. Barbecue, 79. Lawn work, 86. And sleepy time, 98. All seem like innocent titles. That is until Ellison hooks up the still working projector and loads the reels in. Each film is a snuff film, recording forever the moment of a family is brutally killed in horrible ways. The videos start innocently enough, beginning with a scene of picturesque family happiness and suddenly cuts to that same family being murdered by someone off screen. The first movie, entitled Family Hanging Out, 11, shows the 2011 murder of the family being hung from the tree. Pool Party 66 shows a family having a good time splashing around their swimming pool, only for the movie to cut to show each member of the family tied to a poolside chair, which is weighed down with a cement block. Someone off camera pulls each chair into the pool, showing the person drowning. Perhaps the most unnerving is Lawn Work 86. The Deluzio family are indoors enjoying some quality board games on a dark evening. The scene changes to someone sitting aboard a ride-on lawnmower, which runs in the dark across the grass. All we can hear is the motor running on the lawnmower and the grassy earth as it comes into view of the headlamps on the mower. Without warning, we see Mrs. Deluzio quickly come into view under the headlamps as she lays restrained on the ground, the lawnmower speeding towards her. We hear the blades impact her, and the other members of the family scream as the blades whir into them one by one. Reeling from the impact of these disturbing movies, Ellison tries to distance himself from the horror he's witnessed and focuses on analyzing the tapes. He realizes that in each video, a member of the family is missing from the happy scene at the beginning to the horrible death scene at the end. Each time, it's a child who is gone. At the scene of each crime, a mysterious symbol is painted, etched, or otherwise shown in the movie. A calling card from a killer? A symbol of a cult. He also notices a tall figure of a man which can be seen in each film, although it's impossible to get a good look at him. Ellison deduces that this must be the man responsible for these crimes, and the box of films he has stumbled upon is evidence of a serial killer at work. Fueled by his discovery of an unknown serial killer, Ellison spends more and more time away from his family conducting research. He watches the tapes over and over again, trying to spot something new he hadn't noticed before. He transfers the film to digital media and is able to examine it on his computer, where he can see everything in much better detail. He notices on the Sleepy Time 98 film that a background detail hints that it was filmed in St. Louis, and he's filled with a renewed optimism that he might actually be able to solve these crimes. A quick online search using the location he discovered with the year on the tape pulls up articles dating back to a grisly murder of a family in Missouri in 1998, revealing that, as he suspected, one of the children in the family had mysteriously gone missing. This time, it was a 13-year-old boy named Christopher. The family started hearing noises coming from the attic, and Ellison, in particular, found things up there that disturbed him on more than one occasion. Once, it was a snake, coiled and ready to strike. Another time, he found children's drawings depicting the gruesome killings. Was the serial killer stalking him? Had he found a way into the attic? Ellison decided it was time to get the police involved. He wanted to be able to publish all of his findings in his book, of course, but he couldn't find out more information without the help of law enforcement. Through the police, he met up with a university professor with a long-standing education and fascination with the occult. Needless to say, Professor Jonas was extremely interested in what Ellison had to show him. In particular, the symbol left at every murder scene. The professor shows Ellison examples through history of other symbols appearing in ancient texts and at places of demonic worship. These symbols represent ancient demons and deities, each worse than the last, and he suspects that this one represents one particular demon called Bughul. Bughul would prey on happy families, killing everyone except a single child, taking the child with him so he could feast on their soul. Horrified by this realization, Professor Jonas and Ellison come to the conclusion that the shadowed man might in fact be different people, all of them killing families and leaving this sign in honor of the demon, perhaps as part of some awful cult. When Ellison arrived home, he was disturbed to find the movie projector running upstairs in the attic. He crept up the stairs holding his breath for what he would find. Would the killer come to claim him and his family? The breath was sucked from his lungs in terror. The missing children were sitting in a circle, watching the murders play out on the screen. The shadowy figure comes closer, and Ellison sees it is not a man at all, but a horrifying creature not of this world, till it appears right in front of Ellison, not on the screen, but in real life. He takes the film reels and the projector and sets it all on fire, burning it until there's nothing salvageable. After moving his family back into their old house, Ellison receives a phone call from the police with a disturbing update. The police have discovered that each family who was killed lived in the previous victim's house, and they were all killed once they moved away. Ellison realizes with dread that this revelation puts him and his family right at the point of being the next victims. The projector and film reels reappear in his old house, looking as though they had never been burned, and inside was a new reel titled Extended Endings. Ellison, horrified, plays the tape. After each death, the person responsible for the killings steps into view of the camera to show themselves. It is the child missing from each family. The shadowy figure, the demon Bughul, then takes them and spirits them away, never to be seen again. Feeling suddenly dizzy, Ellison staggers and clutches his desk, sees a strange liquid in his coffee cup that he hadn't noticed before, and spots a note written in his daughter's handwriting. It reads, "Good night, Daddy." His vision fades. He wakes up to find himself next to his wife and son, all three tied up. His daughter Ashley approaches all of them with an axe in her hands. There's nothing they can do as she swings the axe on each of them in turn, blood spattering the walls. She uses it to paint pretty pictures. Calls the newest tape House Painting 12. The demon Bughul takes Ashley into his realm, where she remains along with the rest of the missing children, waiting for the next family to stumble across the film reels. That's all for today's video. Thanks for watching.